Today, I'm in Luang Prabang. There's a UNESCO-protected old town here sitting right where two rivers meet, known for its preserved architecture, temples, and a history that stretches back more than 1,000 years. But once you step outside of the old town, this is also a city where there are people just living their lives. On my first visit here, I wanted to experience both sides of Luang Prabang. The famous sights, iconic Lao food, and fascinating history, but also the everyday places most visitors never see. So in this video, we're exploring Luang Prabang from both sides, because for centuries, this was the royal capital of Laos, and that history is still right here in the middle of the city. This is the Royal Palace, and right next to it, a place with an even longer story.
But why is this place even called Luang Prabang, you might ask? Well,
this is Khao Prabang, also known as the Royal Temple, and it houses the Prabang statue of Buddha. It was gifted here from the neighboring Khmer kingdom more than 500 years ago, and it clearly made an impression because the entire town was renamed after it. Before being called Luang Prabang, this place was known as Jiang Tong, or the City of Gold, a name that seems a little hard to compete with. The name Luang Prabang actually comes from the statue itself, literally translating to Royal Image of the Buddha. And while this is just one of many important temples around the city, the one that every local has warned me not to miss is right next door. We're just gonna have to climb a small mountain to get there.
as I've been told, you haven't even been to Luang Prabang without a walk up Phousi Hill or Phousi Mountain. I don't think it really technically is a mountain, but it's pretty high. You also get a nice view of the Khao Prabang. Madam, we would like 2 tickets, please. All right, come try. Hi, how are you? QR code? Awesome, cup chai. And we're in. A little bit over $1 to enter. And you're paying to get some exercise. Thanks. Cup chai. Let's hike on up. It's a pretty cool environment to hike up in. It's one of the premier sites, so you're always gonna have a lot of tourists here, I think. Wow, this tree was a gift from the government of India to the government of Laos in 1957. It's called the Bodhi tree, and it said on the plaque back there that they gifted this to Laos to celebrate Buddhism.
So my wife Rossa and I kept up our climb, and soon enough we came to another interesting plaque. As the Lao folkloric tale goes, Mount Phousi is said to have been moved all the way from Sri Lanka to Laos by the Hindu deity of Hanuman, also known as the Monkey King.
And I made a little stopover at the tree, but without that, I estimate this would have been about an 8-minute walk. The air quality is not so great today. I guess you get a little extra dust over here in the dry season just because it doesn't rain as much. It's about 100 AQI, so you kind of feel the climb, maybe just a little bit more than usual. But here we are.
There's really not that much space at the top, so the inside of the temple is relatively small. During my visit, there were a few people inside worshiping. Outside, there are also a few more Buddhism-related things, like this huge bell.
I see people leaving dried balls of rice in a lot of different Buddhist-affiliated places around town.
I'm not gonna lie though, more than anything, it was the promise of sweeping views like these that made me want to come up here at least once while in Luang Prabang.
As you can see over here, a view out to the Mekong, and on the other side you can see the Nam Khan River. And right now I'm just circulating around this beautiful temple. But one thing I've got to point out about this place is that it's often thought of as a place that you come more than anything to see the sunset, and kind of secondarily as a sunrise place. I mean, the sun does rise over that way, so you get a really nice view of that too. But just walking by here last night and seeing how many people come up right before sunset, I don't think I'd want to come up to this small area and get stuck in a huge crowd. If you're one of those early morning types, perhaps try sunset and a little visit to the morning market. For me, I don't really feel like waking up at 6:30 a.m. And to get a different set of views, you can take the official down route instead of going back down the up route, which a lot of people seem to be doing. This just takes you around the other side of the mountain or hill. And there's a few more little things along the way that look very nice. And also along the way you get views out over the Old Town Peninsula, let's call it, which you don't get from the other side. Over 1,000 years of history that you get to overlook. Pretty cool place. Oh yeah, it's definitely worth walking down the other way.
It looked like I'd made my visit just in time, because just imagine all those people in that very small area at the top. Anyhow, there's actually a few different temples located along the walk. This little tiny one caught my eye.
Do you see the imprint of the foot? We're looking for the imprint of the foot. I don't know if it's more a symbolic thing. Ah, okay. It's like a very big, like that thing. And it's kind of a shrine, so I'm not going to go any deeper in there. The imprint of Buddha's foot. So having visited enough of the top sites of Luang Prabang for the time being, I thought it would be a nice idea to get a glimpse of the other, less visited side of the river. Oh shit, okay. What a bridge. Let's take a little walk on what's marked in Google Maps as the French Bridge. I did not realize how high up this bridge is, like at all. At least the ground is solid. It's not like open or something except for on the sides. But I can't say this is my favorite bridge that I've ever walked across. Huh. That thing must get lit up at night. Anyway, it's just an experience where you walk and just look straight forward and don't take in the views because it's so thin. My wife's really got the hang of it, much more than me. Don't look down. Careful.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Fear of heights didn't take over or anything. This guy's just chilling, sorry. And now that we're on a more peaceful side of the river, or at least another side of the river, I've got something very important to show you. It's funny. You just walk across a bridge, across the Mekong River here, and you've entered an entirely different world with a nice view back to the old town. There's even a sandy beach along the river. But the thing is, today it is a very sunny day. The kind of day where you usually need an umbrella to sit around and hang out on the beach. But luckily, my friends who created Feathershade decided to sponsor this video. Right here is a super lightweight, portable umbrella alternative. To set it up, you just take your first pole and figure out where the wind is coming from. Then you stick that pole down about 25 centimeters. That's about 8 or 9 inches Americans into the ground. Feels like 25 centimeters to me. And then you take this thing, it's called a sail, and you just clip it to your first pole. Easy as that. And get our second pole in the ground here, though we might need to move this one. Let's just check. All right, that's 25 centimeters right there. And then you want to clip it, same as the first one. And voila, just 2 more poles to get in the ground now. Let's go ahead and clip this third clip right in there. It looks pretty good. Let's get the 4th pole in the sand. I've got it down in the ground, clipped it, and that's basically Feathershade for you. You can adjust it a little bit more if needed, but honestly, the wind is not very strong today, so I don't think it matters too much. Basically, it's as easy as pulling out 4 poles, clipping on this sail, and bam, you've got shade that you can take with you all around the world. Unlike massive or very low quality beach umbrellas, this thing is super lightweight, and you can even take it in your carry-on baggage. I mean, Feathershade will last you for many years, so head right down to the description to find my link and purchase one today. Additionally, when you use my link, you get a special discount. So join me and hundreds of other savvy travelers in saying no to one-time use umbrellas and get yourself a Feathershade today. But it's nice of a place to sit around and enjoy the sun this beach is. It's not really a swimming river. I don't think so. So let's head on over to the other side of the river and continue exploring Luang Prabang. Well, I've been doing it a little weird over here in Luang Prabang. Right here, I'm in the center of the city. At least the hotel that I've moved over to is called the Luang Prabang Center Hotel.
This hotel definitely has some upsides. Their chandeliers are cool, and if you go up on the roof, there are some nice views of the city. Compared to other places I'd stayed at in Laos though, the price just seemed a little too high for what you get. It was a little over $50 US a night. The breakfast was at least included in the price and did come with fresh barista-made coffee, but after spending many days staying there, you could tell that some of the same food would be put out each morning and wasn't necessarily that fresh. I think I'd struggle to really recommend this hotel though, in all honesty. There's a lot of issues with it. They try to do a nice job, but the water doesn't really heat all the time. Just randomly doesn't work. And there's something wrong with the water pressure too.
Plus there's like a huge construction site next door that's very loud. And it's really a popular to visit part of town that's definitely got a bustle to it. And just look at all of those electricity wires. Bangkok vibes. That's just Laos for you. Looks like there's a bird's nest. A lot of motorcycles. A bird's nest up in that entanglement of power cords. And I found some real North Face jackets. Very, very real. They have this brand. They got Adidas. This one's got its price in Chinese, but then down here in Kip. Sabari, is this price Kip?
418.
That's Kip price,
Yes.
right? How much is that in dollars?
Huh?
How much is that in dollar?
No, I don't know.
21. So that's $24. Okay, $24. Where do you get it from? China? You get it from China?
Yeah.
So yeah, you could get a North Face or Adidas jacket for a little over $20. I think she'd probably negotiate though. I think if I offered 250,000 Kip, she'd say 300,000 and it would be sold. But right now we've got our sights set on the Central Market, which is a little bit of a walk away from the old town, down this way. And it's our first time walking on this street. Always nice to see what it's like on a new street. Some great mountain views, a little bit hazy today, but still very beautiful. And as I keep walking, this starts to feel really like the kind of local through street if you're trying to drive a little bit faster and avoid the busier street over that way. Because after the first few blocks, there are a lot less businesses. But we've almost made it to the market. I think. Everything looks so much shorter on the map than it actually is when you try to walk it. That's a rice shop, by the way. Lots of different types of rice. So here you start to see quite a few businesses. Up that way is actually the back of the market. The market covers a whole large city block. So instead of going through the front, the tame part, we're gonna try entering through the back and working our way through the market like that.
For a minute we thought we might have made a wrong turn, so I stopped to try to ask for directions.
Market? The dry season is when most people visit here, but it gets very dusty also. And a ton of river fish right there in those buckets. I take that as a sign that we're about to finally enter the market. This seems to have really been the roundabout way to get here. This is where all the trash from the market goes. And I think we're entering not so much through the back, but actually through the side in the end. So much rice right here. Let's see what we find in here. Looks kind of like a snacks section. And it's very dark in here. And along with the snacks, junk food type stuff, there's a lot of toys. It's kind of like the child-friendly section, I guess. Okay, it looks like this is some kind of incense here you burn. Behind me, it doesn't look like much is actually open. We're here in the middle of the day, like 1 p.m. or something. But over this way, it continues. Oh, an Airbus A380. And it looks a little bit like a Toys R Us, also with knives. Potentially cheap underwear and elephant bags. Okay, now we're into the edible stuff. Okay. It's a massive maze of vegetables, chicken feet, and all kinds of other things. Donuts, ginger, the spicy peppers, banana leaf. What did I break? I broke. Sorry. Okay. I almost broke the market. They're using styrofoam to keep the sun and dust out. Tons of different green stuff. That seems to be a really important part of their cuisine here. Make it taste a little bit fresh, and it's very healthy. I don't know what's happening in this market, not much. And over on this side, you've got a section where you can eat a quick meal. Sausages, all different kinds of stuff. Sausage? You make sausage?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Is that for the sausage right there?
Pork.
Ah, pork.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, nice. For sausages?
Yeah, spicy.
Spicy sausage?
Yeah.
Same, different?
Yeah, same.
Same. Ah, okay. Cool. Cup chai. I guess that guy's kind of the sausage man, just based on the amount of meat he had for making sausages. And just like in the back of the market, in the front of the market, there's a ton of businesses centered around the market. So this is just the market area of town, I guess. Nothing particularly crazy or out of the ordinary for Southeast Asia, but worth a little walk around. You can get a feel of what Lao people live like mostly. I don't think there's very many non-Lao people hanging out at this market. I've really been wondering what's in a Lao 7-Eleven. Looks like a lot of kids just got off school. I just want to have a look. Sabadi. It's kind of like in those Northeastern Asian countries. Also kind of like in Thailand. They got Bulgarian yogurt, crab chips and stuff like that. And I was interested in seeing this part more than anything. Looks like they got, oh yeah, some different drinks, including this taro milk tea. It's always kind of interesting to see what flavors of junk food you'll find in a local convenience store like this. Tomato flavor. It's a bit like the German paprika flavor. And even though Laos is a landlocked country, there's quite a lot of seaweed stuff for sale. It's always got to come from a neighboring country because, yeah, no sea. This is from Thailand. And it's a little bit more than just a 7-Eleven kind of, you could say. They've got like home cleaning products and then all this kind of stuff too. And the prices actually seem quite fair. It's kind of nice for a 7-Eleven. Okay, gonna keep going this way. And I want some coffee. And this street here, I've been told is really known for having many scooter shops.
So having checked out the local market area with food and coffee in mind, we headed back towards the old town.
There's a little city park here along the way. I don't know if this is just called the People's Park or it's got another name, but over on the edge of it, you get some nice views out over the jungle to the Mekong River. Also, you can see and hear a jet flying off in the distance. Looks like an ATR, a little jet. Luang Prabang Airport is really not all that busy. It's like 8 to 10 flights, at least commercial flights a day. But it is very conveniently located, like a 10 to 15 minute drive from the middle of the city.
Since we'd already seen some of the sites in the middle of the old town, we thought we'd see what the part of the old town right on the Mekong River is like.
And here we are making it down to the river. Basically seems like just when you get past that street, everything becomes slightly more calm. It's not quite calm yet. They still allow cars and motorbikes to drive on this street at all times, but the street I just passed is actually where the night market is set up every night. I think it starts around 8 p.m. On the way temple, and here you can already see the river. I've passed by here a few times in a car and stuff, but haven't actually walked along the river during the day. Let's see what it's like. Looks like this is where most of the boats depart from for whatever journey. I guess the biggest one is like the sunset cruises. And a few businesses operating. You can get a coconut, and you can see there's not much space. It's like a 1 or 2 story drop, maybe better said 3-story. You see there's a little river flowing into the Mekong down there, so this isn't where you'll find your seaside riverside beaches or anything like that. Fair amount more businesses on the way. Also complete street food style meals. And you've got guest houses right along the riverfront, a lot of which do not charge all that much money. You've got cheap options. When I just looked up some prices for non-peak dates, you could stay somewhere for like $20 or $30 a night in a decent place in one of these guest houses. I guess some of them are better than others, but we're actually visiting here right during the very peak period in January, so it was a little less availability over here. Hi. No. Just taking a walk, sir. Thank you. River chicken right there. What else to say about this place? It's a little bit underwhelming in terms of not actually being able to see the Mekong, at least in this part of the river walk. But let's see, we'll cross the street here and maybe it gets a little bit more beautiful to the eye, or not. This is the ferry that goes across the Mekong right here. It's actually just departing right now. It just happens to be departing right now, and you can even get your car in there. All right, you see another one coming over here. Sorry, do you know how much the ferry costs? 10,000. One of the guys sitting there told me it costs 10,000 kip, so a little bit less than 50 US cents. It's probably like a 1 to 2 minute ride, I guess. There are really a ton of different businesses around here, but again, you can't really get that river view, I guess, unless you sit at one of the businesses or there's a few little parks. Food. This is all just making me very hungry. Perhaps my impatience with the lack of full view is actually just the fact that I want to eat something right now, and I know where I'm going. Just up this way, there's a cafe. We know because To prepare for this trip, we looked on YouTube and there weren't really very many good videos about Laos, but luckily Mark Wiens had a few. And this is the cafe that he recommends, so let's see if it's actually... Yes, thank you, Mark Wiens. Let's see if it's actually any good or if the very enjoyed look that he gives each time he drinks coffee or eats there is maybe not something I agree with. And the place is right here. It's called Saffron Cafe. Let's give it a good testing out. And it looks like they've got a lot of different stuff to eat, all day breakfast. But the biggest thing they're known for is this local Lao coffee. Hi, what's something very filling to eat here? How about Lao peanut chicken wrap? Okay, okay, take one of those, please. Thank you.
Would you like anything else?
Yeah, your very best coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the local in here.
Yes, please.
Coffee. It's the, I recommend you for the with milk, I recommend you latte.
Okay.
And no milk, I recommend you Americano.
Okay.
Because the coffee, anything is signature for here because we have farming here.
Yeah.
Roasting in here.
One with milk and one without milk.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Ice.
You recommended ice? Hot.
Would you like anything else? Pork vanilla.
I guess that's it. And you can see in here they've got a whole coffee roasting and brewing operation going. And how it works is you just get a number, and if you want the riverside view, which I want, you just head over here and they'll take it to you. Yeah, and in total for 2 people, 285,000 kip, 13 US dollars, 12 euros. Okay, now we get a little bit of a view out to the Mekong. So these are the 2 recommended coffees over here. Hot coffee, although in Laos, when it's hotter, cold coffee is very popular. It's kind of cold here right now though. Anyway, this is the black coffee, or actually an Americano. And it really does taste like an artisanal coffee, full-bodied. And there's definitely a fruitiness, and yeah, it's got very low acidity for a coffee. It's pretty nice, pretty unique. So now that I've properly stolen some of my wife's coffee, this is a latte, I think a large latte. Boy, that's really good. I think I like the one with milk quite a bit more. You know, some coffees just taste better with milk than others. And I mean, this one does taste really good black, but with milk, I like it a bit more even. And to eat, I will point out that this isn't as cheap as you'll find like local Lao food costing, but this pulled pork sandwich was 80,000 kip, so less than $4, and I don't know, let's give it a taste. It's not really mine again, it's my wife's, but can I try it?
One bite.
Okay, I've tried to like cut a little bit off of this so that I don't eat too much of my wife's food so she's not hungry. It didn't really work, but yeah, look at that pulled pork. It looks like it could be a little bit dry, but they give you this sauce, so I think that's gonna maybe balance this out. Let's see. It's really good. The bread is almost like a pancake. Kind of weird, but good. And it's quite spicy. But right, a thing on some of those boats is that people actually give an in-person concert. You can hear someone singing. I don't know which boat it is. Yeah, okay, this boat rolling over here. Those are the big party boats, by the way, and this is a small local longboat. Anyway, my chicken wrap is here. A Lao peanut chicken wrap. That looks tasty. 70,000 kip. It's kind of like a deconstructed bowl of noodle soup with, instead of noodles, thanks. With, instead of noodles, a tortilla style, wheat tortilla style wrap. Maybe it's with rice flour. Let's give it a try. Yeah, this is really good. It's got that sweet thing going on. Could use a little bit of spiciness. It doesn't have that, but that's okay. And more than anything, it's just fresh. Got all those fresh greens in there. It's not a traditional Lao meal without fries. Beats McDonald's, that's for sure. But it doesn't really matter because Laos is one of the only countries in the world where you're not going to find even a single McDonald's. What can I say? Mark Wiens was right. Nice find, Mark.
After spending some time watching the boats go by, we continued our walk along the river.
Only 8,440 kilometers to Berlin. Oh, 13,278 kilometers to New York. Okay, you get it. So, some construction happening, and when you come up over here to the bend, you've got dogs. No, I'm just playing. You've got the river bend. And there's a nice place to walk along it. Actually, there's a few levels of walking paths here, but anyway, I think it's very cool that you see the brown Mekong, and then the Nam Kha River here is much more blue, and they're just meeting each other.
This is the confluence of these two rivers. Now you surely remember the old bridge we took a walk on earlier in this video. During the dry season when I'm visiting, there's normally a seasonal bamboo bridge that locals build each year. When the rains start, usually around May, it washes away. The people that build it charge a small fee to cross, and it's normally just down the way from here, but for some reason this year there's no bridge. I'm really not sure if it washed away earlier or hadn't been built yet, but
now there's a bamboo boat service which costs 20,000 kip. Sorry, is that 20,000 kip round both ways? One way. Go, come back? 30. Ah, okay. So it's 30,000 for a round trip ride or 20,000 one way. Now I'm back up above the riverbanks on the edge of the old town, towards the very end of it actually. And just walking around, you can see how much history is in this place. Just for example, we randomly walked by these 3 restored and UNESCO-protected buildings.
in this part of the old town there are a lot of these buildings from the French colonial period.
These are some really pretty buildings though. But this building houses Anaka Handicraft, which has some pretty cool projects to help out local farmers and children in getting the healthcare they need. They have a small area here explaining everything about the hospital, and the sad fact is this is the only free hospital in all of Laos. The rest is basically what you'd call private healthcare, but the kind that the patient has to pay for. The difference is here, they're 100% funded by donations. So a little bit more of a meaningful stop than I thought I'd find actually, just happened across this place. But also then some of the tourist spots that are in these same historic buildings. And this isn't your traditional Sunset Street, of course not, but there's something about the way the rays just cut through the flowers and the flags, reflecting every which way. That's really beautiful on this main street over in the old town of Luang Prabang. And organized with the sunset, here you can see the night market is just starting to get set up. It's not really open yet. People are putting up their stalls, and there's not enough people walking through yet to stop the motorbikes from using this as a street still. Oh look, a temple and a cute leopard dog and a temple. A little bit higher and a better view of the temple.
In case you forgot, that's the Khao Prabang housing the statue that the city's named after. It looks a little different this time of day though.
It's a cool place to observe all the locals setting up the market though. But this is a pretty nice place to take in a unique sunset vibe too. Right next to this 165-year-old elephant temple.
As the sun set, we started to get hungry, and right next to the night market there is a huge street food area. We had a certain local specialty in mind though, but first we'd need to get some cash to pay for it.
One thing that I've found has been very essential is having cash here in Laos. Luckily there's ATMs just about everywhere in places like Luang Prabang at least. I find that 500,000 usually goes at least a day or two. That's about $25 US. There is an app here called the Loca app, a little bit like WeChat in terms of you scan a QR code. Hi, my transaction has been canceled. That machine wasn't working. Hopefully this one's gonna work. Let's do 500K. But yeah, the thing about that app is that it always charges you a fee. So you end up paying a little bit more. That is unless you have no way to avoid ATM fees, and then they also charge fees. Plan ahead. Not sure why, but this machine only had 50,000 today. Anyway, got my cash. This is $500,000. I'm half a millionaire. A little bit more than $25.
And how about another local place that's got a cool project going on? Well, Family Baker, as you see here, was created by NK Seeds and Punkeo, a woman who became a key partner in the project NK Seeds. It's a non-profit organization improving access to education, water, and healthcare. So something a little bit more unique than your average single fruit smoothie, a mango cinnamon smoothie, which is quite the exquisite combination. I guess this is actually with fresh cinnamon sticks in it. It kind of cuts down on the sweetness, but the mango is still the prominent flavor there. Really nice. And you know, I've come to a place that bakes stuff at night, so it's not 100% super fresh, but coconut cake is also pretty tasty. It's a little bit like banana bread, but with coconut instead of banana. Sweet, the good kind of oily, and full-bodied, like a bread.
Thank you.
The real thing that brought me here though is that they do a nice rendition of the local specialty, so I've been told. This is khao soy. It's a coconut-based, I think, spicy soup with noodles and tomatoes. Khao soy is also popular in northern Thailand across the border, but in Luang Prabang they do it with thick rice noodles instead of egg noodles. Let's give it a try. It's nice. The noodles are kind of al dente. I almost missed there's a lime sitting here. But in that first taste, the broth is just mildly spicy. Maybe she saw, well, probably not from Laos. She gave it to us just a little less spicy than normal, because I have heard this soup can be very spicy. But now with some lime in it, lime and coconut are always best friends, right? Yeah, that's rich. I think there's a little bit of water along with the coconut. All of these herbal greens really round out the flavor. A nice soup, a little bit of chicken too. It's the perfect sharing soup. But you gotta take turns. This is very similar to foods I've eaten in Thailand. Very good.
And let me tell you, this meal, like many in Laos, comes with a nice little friend. Sometimes feline, sometimes canine. Doesn't matter. This is what life's about. And that little food experience, 141,000 kip. About $7. Now I think people often think of visiting a temple as a daytime activity, but some temple complexes are lit up to visit at night too. This is called Tat Pathum, and it's what's known as a stupa, basically a kind of sacred shrine in Buddhism. Its nickname is Tat Makmo, or the watermelon stupa. And this just happens to be the temple right next door to the hotel that we're staying at. It's just over there. And it's clear skies for days over here in the winter. You've got stars visible. Okay, the lights are kind of messing up my camera, but you can definitely see a few of them. Really cool. And I nearly forgot to point it out, that temple up on the hill is definitely lit up. Here within the complex, there's actually a few different temples. I think the monks have been asleep for quite a while over here, but it's nice that they keep it lit up so you can just come and see it well. Luang Prabang has got some serious beauty going on. I really like this place. And this is a whole little heritage complex actually, so you've got a few other things like this very, very long boat here. This is like the traditional version of those longboats you can see out on the Mekong. Actually, I saw a lot more of those kinds of longboats with a motor added, of course, over in the city or town of Viens, but I've seen a few here too. All covered up for the night, or maybe just in general like that, not sure, but visiting this place at night has a certain feel to it, a good one. There are just so many temples here in Luang Prabang, well over 30 of them. Far more than you could cover in a single video. I mean, you could probably spend weeks visiting them all and still feel like you've only scratched the surface. But even during the 5 days I was here, it was impossible to miss how central they are to the rhythm of this ancient city. This is one of Southeast Asia's more unique cities. Tons of beautiful places in this part of the world, but after a few days here in Luang Prabang, it's definitely found a place in my heart. But after getting to know Luang Prabang itself, I wanted to head out beyond the city, out into the countryside, to experience more of what northern Laos has to offer. And one thing Rasa and I have been dreaming about for quite a while is seeing elephants here. And we're off! So in the next video, we're leaving the city behind and heading into rural Laos to do just that. So I hope you enjoyed coming on this journey with me. If you did, don't forget to give this video a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.